Hello there, this is Big Benedict. We're playing Resident Evil 5 on Professional difficulty. This is Chapter 6-3, it's entitled Bridge Deck, and it's the final chapter. So, we have a couple of boss fights at the end of the video, as would be expected on a final video, and a couple of long checkpoints coming up, and these are pretty difficult comparing them amongst the other fights on this particular chapter and even of the whole game. So what I have equipped here is my grenade launcher with the flash rounds. It's going to help in a couple of instances here, but just note that all of these enemies here can be sniped or shot with regular rounds, and the enemy at the end of this hall right there, he will get consumed by the flames. Now, one of the reasons that I'm equipping the flash rounds with this grenade launcher here is for this instance right here. When you jump down, you can't see him, but there's a guy right down there who loves to hit you with the stun rod as soon as you land. So you can completely incapacitate him, and then when you jump down you can do the context button, and then once you come over here, everybody should be cleared up for you. But we still have a really long way to get that checkpoint, and I suspect that the enemies in this region never stop spawning. Now, when I say this region, I don't mean this area here. I mean once the gate opens on the other side, I don't think they ever stop spawning. I can't confirm it, but I just have a sneaking suspicion about it. Now, be very careful right here, because right behind you there's going to be a guy throwing grenades. So I'm just kind of emboldening myself right here, and once I do get wind of those grenades, I'm going to get the hell out of here. But for now, just clear everybody up as they come back, and you can even prioritize the grenade thrower, which is probably a really good idea. And just stay behind the cover, and if you don't want to take out the grenade guy, you can just wait until all these guys are cleared up. So the next part, I was gonna give up on veteran on this next part, just because of just the way that things can go so wrong on it. And what I'm talking about is the sequence where there's two Gatling gun machinis, and that's followed right behind a pair of Reapers. So these are the enemies that I suspect never cease to spawn. So I think the best thing to do, and it works pretty well for me, although it does require some luck at the end as far as Sheva not getting killed, or well, you'll see what she does. She starts doing a combo right before I told her to get onto the lever, but it still worked out. So what you can do is kill the majority of enemies, and we're just going to make a rush for it at the end. And the easiest way to do that with the most assurances that you'll do it is to use the flash rounds, because they have a very helpful way of stunning enemies, incapacitating them, and while they're blinded, you can just proceed with what you need to do. It should be noted, though, that the threat over here is pretty great because of the rocket launcher guys. So what I'm going to do is just throw as many of these flash rounds as I possibly can, hit him with a combo, and the goal here, all you have to do is have Sheva pull the other lever while you're pulling this one. So see, she did a kick right there. I didn't want her to, and you can also see a rocket whizzing by me right there. But once you secure the checkpoint, you can just reset the checkpoint, or excuse me, you can just reload, and all the enemies will be gone. So what I'm doing here is preparing for the two Reapers. So I'm gonna throw down 5 proxies over here, and since they're blocking my ladder, I had to go this way. And the quicker you take care of these enemies, the better, because you don't want to run into the guys with the Gatling guns. So what I'm going to do is put 10 right here for this guy, and that will put him at the brink of death, so that one rifle round will take care of him. And then what I'll do is use the stun rod on the second guy. So pull this lever, and once you do this, it's a countdown for the gate to open. And if you do this pretty well and quickly, you should get pretty versed at doing this, and you'll end up with actually a lot of extra time to wait by the gate. And I actually had to fast forward that. So just let these guys collide with the proxies and stun them, and aim at the weak areas, this vulnerable area right there, and put them down. Very effective strategy, but it does require some familiarity with how to stun that guy, how to loop him, and just where exactly to put those proxies to benefit the most. Okay, so I'm going to put this in fast forward over here, because there's about 20 seconds of me waiting by the gate. And if you're really struggling here, you can use a rocket launcher to take care of one of these guys. Hell, you could even have Sheva have one and just, you know, try to take care of them. But really, this is designed for you to come up here, and what you're going to be doing is firing as many shots into these guys until they get staggered, and then while the one is staggered, shoot the other to stagger him, and then you can get into a nice little loop. The only problem is the enemy's running up the ladder, and I did this on my first attempt, you guys. When I got here, it was first attempt, but on veteran, I never thought I would beat this. I did it maybe 50 times and never won, until, you know, things just happened to click. So just be very careful here of overheating the machine. If you overheat it, you're penalized by not being able to use it for about 10 seconds. And you're pretty safe behind the turret. It's just that these guys take a heap of damage. And, you know, one of the things that can go wrong here is Sheva running out of ammo. So if you give her plenty of ammo and put her in the cover mechanic, by pressing B and then up, which it's cover by default, but do not put her in attack mode, because you don't want her going down there. You just want her to cover you as you're on the turret. But I cannot tell you, this can go so wrong. It's really bad. So if you're really hard up here, you can kill both of them with a grenade, with a rocket launcher, if you have to. I wouldn't blame you, to be honest. And then that is the prelude to this chapter. And we'll have a pair of boss fights, and then that will be the end of this entire campaign. So the idea here is that each of the the Majinis have a key card, which you need, so there's no skipping this. So what I do is I just collect the card. I don't bother to loot anything. I just go straight for the door, and we will take on Wesker. Okay, so for the Wesker boss fight, what we're going to be doing is using the rocket launcher in conjunction with the magnums. So I actually lost my footage over here, and I had to redo this fight, and it's really annoying since you have to start the entire chapter just to get to this stage of the fight again. But this first step here is to turn off all of the lights, the overhead lights. The one switch nearest to the rocket launcher over here is out of order or doesn't work or something, so you don't have to throw that switch, but you do have to throw these ones. If you don't want to pull them, you can have Sheva do it for you. And the thing about this boss fight is that you need to be hitting him in his back or at an angle when he is unaware of your location, which is to say, whenever he is focusing on Sheva, or just simply just not focusing on you, I guess is the best way to put it. And anyway, so you're going to be doing this sequence of QuickTime events when you drop them. It is X, B, A, and then X plus A. It never deviates. And what I noticed on Veteran immediately is that while you do get one rocket launcher, you don't get any refills for this weapon. So you've got to bring your own rocket launcher here. And what I found was that about 20 or 15 Magnum shots and a couple of rocket launchers takes him down. It's actually pretty simple. It's not bad at all once you know how to do it. If you don't know how to do it, it can take you a long time to figure it out. So when you shoot a rocket at him, you'll catch it, and then what you do is you have to drop the rocket and then shoot the rocket in his hand as it's going to fizz and taper out. Otherwise, go for this, and you will also see him going up to the stash of rockets up there to throw it at you. Just shoot it when you get up to him. And you don't have to be particular. You can be a little bit inaccurate at this thing too. So it's just running away from him, having Sheva fire at him after you've turned off all the lights. Shoot him. It's 2 Magnum shots, 2 body shots will drop him with the Magnum. And one of my Magnums, the L Hawk, is upgraded all the way, but the other one I believe I have on is only upgraded halfway, and it was still 2 body shots. So just also realize that if he's ever coming in a straight line directly at you, or if he notices you in any way, you will not get to hit him. He'll evade it every single time. So the idea here is that you need to grab him so that you can stick him with the syringe and finish him off. But there is another fight after this. So I'm not sure how many times you do this sequence of events. Maybe about 5.
Let me clarify something.
But he should be dropping. Once he falls like that, I think it says restrain. So just restrain him, and that is it. Okay, and then the last thing we're going to be doing is heading up here, and you will be able to hit the weak spot of this guy. So equip your Magnum, and Sheva's going to be helping us out too a little bit. So at about this point here, you will get the cutscene showing you that his weak area is there. Sometimes it's covered up. Most of the time you'll have it exposed right in front of you to take care of, and you just want to be consistently dealing damage to this thing. If you want to end the fight right now, if you shoot a rocket launcher into it, you'll end the fight. And at least this was true on Veteran. I'm not sure about Professional. That the rest of this post checkpoint after this is optional if you do that, but you still don't get a checkpoint quite yet, and what you're going to have to do here is protect Sheva, and it's a very simple section. She's just going to be running to the right. He's going to be chasing her very slowly, so if you just hit him a few times, you'll prevent him from going to the right and killing her. So it's a fairly long checkpoint, but it's nothing too grueling, to be honest. And even when I think back on that, it's not even too long. So once you down this guy, you're going to want to head over to the boulder, and you can interact with the boulder prior to this, but if you don't push the scripting this far, you'll just push the boulder into the lava, and you'll never be able to proceed unless you just kill the boss. So it's kind of a weird situation if you think about it, but we're trying to push the boulder into the lava so that Sheva has a stepping stone over to where we are, and then once she regroups with us, we'll go to the main area where we were before, get a final checkpoint. And he takes a lot to take down, this boss does. So like I've been saying many times, just use the Magnum, use the rocket launcher. And I was doing this for about 45 minutes because I couldn't take him down, even with about 15 or so odd Magnum rounds. I just couldn't take him down, so what I decided to do was just use the Magnum for a while. And if I ran out, or even before then, I would just use the rocket launcher. And I honestly didn't know that he would just die if I used the rocket launcher. And I would have redone this fight. But if the only way to do that is to start the entire chapter over, which I wasn't inclined to do because I want to be moving on with my projects on this channel. So this is the final checkpoint. He's going to be flailing his arms wildly here, and this is where the weak point starts alternating, and it's largely on his back. So it's one of those situations where you have to keep moving around, keep flanking him and shooting him in the back. But you will get a cutscene eventually where he's just standing there with his weak spot right in front of you. And at that point, what I would recommend is just end it. I mean, it's been a long campaign. All these enemies are bullet sponges. And just ending it seems to be justified here. So I thought that this fight would continue a little bit longer after I used this rocket launcher. And like I said, when I used it, he was just instantly killed. But I have had to shoot him up to this point. So when he does this, it's just running away from it, backing off. Sometimes Chevy gets caught in that, unfortunately. And it's one of those things, too, where your participation level just stops at that point. So that's the end of it, and I'll see you in the next project. Take care.
Ready, partner?
Locked and loaded.
Suck on this, Wesker.
Your time's up, you son of a bitch.